Good morning to all of uh, learners that are going to do your project paper, master project paper, uh, BMPP 6106, actually in the next semester. Okay, good morning.
Morning.
We're supposed to still wait for a few numbers of candidate. We have also have 50 8 student learners, but since that we already set it's 9 o'clock and we're going to record this session. Okay, so if you want to review back again for this session, you can ask from the postgraduate notes data center. Okay, so that who send you the invitations email. Okay, so then you can try to get this session will be starting from 9 o'clock until 11. Okay, so then on the line we have Associate Professor Dr. Nosia. Okay, the head of program for Master in Management, and we also have Associate Professor Dr. Santi, okay, who's program director for Master in Business Administration. Okay, so then I am Dr. Goy. Okay, so then I'm a program director for Human Master in Human Resource Management. So today I'm going to brief you, okay, some of the guideline and how you're going to start your project paper. And after that, you can ask a question, and Associate Professor Dr. Nosia will be with us. Okay, then they will try to help you to answer a question, and Associate Professor Dr. Santi also will be here with us, and you also can raise a questions actually regarding this project paper. Okay, for your information, we don't have a tutorial, okay, for project paper because normally when in a semester start, then you need to be independent, okay, and to do actually your project paper. And you'll be guided actually by a supervisor, okay, so based on your nomination. And if you in Klang Valley, then most of your supervisor, we need to assign you, okay, with the internal lecturers that we have in OUM. And if you're not in the Klang Valley, you allow at least to nominate at least a supervisor, okay, for to guide you in doing your project paper. Make sure that when you get a guide from a supervisor, okay, so try to have, that a supervisor, okay, who having a knowledge, okay, so that in actually, knows that doing a research. Okay, to start, actually, know that for the project paper, please, at least you download, actually, the master project guideline, okay, so under RPMU, okay, Research Project Management Unit at the e-services that you have. Okay, so then some of you knows that if you try at least to download actually some of the form, okay, so you can go to, that your portal, okay, so then try to check the under the e-service, okay, and then you're going to have actually, under the RPMU, okay, Research and Project Management Unit, and you click actually under this research and project, okay, so then you have a postgraduate, okay, you click that postgraduate, you're going to have a few numbers of form. So since that you are master student, you just click the under this master, and you can download actually some of the guideline. Okay, they have some of the guidelines under, that for MBA, MHRM, and Master in Management. So they have a guideline. You can download this guideline. Okay, so then before and that you start actually your project paper, so you will know that what is required when you prepare that the project paper. And they have few numbers of forms that you can download. Okay, so for example, for nomination, at least the supervisor. Okay, so then we call it PGR01. Okay, nomination of project paper for a master's. Okay, for a MBA, MHRM, and MM. Okay, you can download it here, and you also can have actually that progress report, because you need to do this project paper in 2 semesters. Okay, so after you complete it in semester 1, so that we know that whether you active or not, so you can fill this progress report. Okay, and end of the semester, and after that, in the second semester, when you want to send your project paper, then you need to send this progress report. Then this progress report need to be signed by your supervisor. And also you have actually, that if you want to change your supervisor, okay, so after, that 1 semester, okay, during the semester also, okay, if you're not satisfied with the supervisor that you nominate, okay, so you're allowed to change actually supervisor. But the changes of the supervisor also need to be approved by, that the program director. So you need to send it to, that the RPMU unit, okay, so then for getting approval. Okay, so that is a way you can get actually the form. And please, after you that fill the form, okay, PGR01, okay, so that nomination form, then send it to that RPMU, okay, getting approved, okay, so then they will send you an email, okay, to notify you who's the supervisor is going to be. And after you get your that notification, please that contact your supervisor directly. Okay, so introduce yourself. Okay, so then you can actually start to write actually that the project paper. And you only allowed actually that to submit at least your project paper after get a consent from your supervisor. Okay, so then to fill at least the master projects format checklist, they have few numbers of form under that this, then one of them actually is a checklist, okay, to inform you how to prepare at least your project paper, how to prepare the report. So you can they have a checklist there, then the checklist need to be signed by your supervisors. Okay, whether you are fulfill the certain requirement, only you allowed to send your supervisor, send your project paper. And please be aware that your project papers actually is going to take for 2 semester. Okay, so if you register for this project paper in January, okay, so you are not allowed to that if you're very fast, let's say you said that you're very fast, then you want to submit it in 1 semester, it's not allowed, because this is a project paper. And based on the MQA requirement, the project paper need to be that done in 2 semesters. So they have a 6 credit hour. Okay, so if you are not that send it 1 semester in 1 semester, it turn out to become that it's not acceptable. Okay, so make sure that so your project papers is done in the 2 semester. Then you have, if you register for January 2011, 2021, okay, in January 2021, okay, so January semester, and you can go for a May semester. So in May, June, July, August, then you need to send it actually in the end case of the August or the early of September. And are you allowed actually to extend it? Yes, you're allowed to extend it more than the 2 semester. But make sure that because if you extend it another semester, okay, the OUM going to charge you a different types of the fee. Okay, as long as you register for this subject, okay, project paper in January, okay, then OUM going to starting to calculate that 3 credits hours that you have. And so you need to progress within this 2 semester. Okay, so just now we explained to you that where you can get the guideline, you need to go to the e-service in your own portal, And after that, try to check actually, all the forms under the postgraduate and download and try to read actually, the guideline. Okay, so then fill the form for the nomination of a supervisor. And after you fill the form, okay, so then if you don't have a nomination of supervisor, just left the form under the that nomination of supervisor, left it empty. So send it to RPMU. Then RPMU we send the form actually to the PD, and the PD program director will try to assign you a suitable supervisor. But if you have actually that your own nomination of a supervisor, you can write down the name of the supervisor and let the supervisor to sign the form and attach together with the resume of the supervisor that you nominate, and send it together with the nomination form actually to RPMU. Okay, so then RPMU will try to also get approval actually from the PD. So far, you have any questions about this?
Doctor?
Yes.
That is only meant those outside Klang Valley. In Klang Valley, we do not need to put any supervisor's name, right, Doctor?
Yes, yes, correct. For if you're in the Klang Valley, you can left the nomination of supervisors, that empty. And send direct the form after you fill your name. Okay, so then send it to RPMU.
Noted,
And
Doctor.
we assign the supervisor for you. Then if you are not in the Klang Valley, okay, please nominate that the supervisors, okay, so then ask the supervisor to fill the form. And one, we need to remind you, since that you are master degree, so you don't get a supervisor having a bachelor degree. Okay, it's because we receive some of nominations form from learners. They send us actually the nomination of the supervisor, but the supervisor only knows that having actually the bachelor degree. Okay, so that's not acceptable. Okay, so the supervisors that we mean is not your organization supervisor. It's a supervisor who able to guide you in doing your project paper. Okay, so that you must be aware. Okay, any questions, Samo?
Hi, Doctor. I have a
Yes.
question.
Mm.
Can we can nominate the supervisor outside from the OUM, right? Because I'm based in Kelantan, so
Yes, you allow.
okay.
Only from the Klang Valley learners only. But outside from the Klang Valley, we encourage you to nominate at least the supervisor. Okay, so that that having enough qualifications. So you need that supervisor to that to agree and sign the form, and also you need to attach the resume of the supervisor when you send the form. But if you are outside the Klang Valley, okay, you don't have anyone to guide you and supervise you, you allow actually to send the form without nomination of the supervisor. You just send it for the RPMU, and we try to nominate you, suggest you a certain supervisor name from the OUM itself. Okay?
Doctor,
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
check with you for this form, when we need to submit?
Before this is before your January semester.
That means within this month.
Yes. That's why
Okay,
we
can.
give you this briefing. So you
Okay.
can complete the form, okay, with this month before January semester, in case you need to send the form for RPMU. So just now I list the name of the persons that you need to send, okay, from RPMU. So this is the name, okay, his name is Encik Muhammad Fauzi, okay, MDFAUZI, allianceoum.edu.my. Okay, this is the telephone numbers. Okay, so that you send your form directly to NOSDET RPMU. Okay.
Doctor, just a question. Because
Yes.
our final project we're supposed to finish it within 2 semesters, right? What if I have extended? I'm using 3 semesters to finish up my final project. So is there any penalty on this?
Penalty in terms of marks, is it?
Yeah.
No, there's no penalty of in terms of the marks. Only the tuition fee. There may be, that your tuition fee they will be adding, that if your semester not finished, so every semester they will calculate the tuition fee for you, but no penalty in terms of the marks.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
For the project paper, you need to know that you only allowed to extend it maximums for 2 years. Okay. If after the 2 years means that if now this is January 2021, okay, so you need, if you extend it, okay, you only allowed to extend that project paper for 2 years. Okay, so if you have medicals, that problem, okay, then you try at least, to fill the form, extend actually the semester. Okay, don't quiet. Okay, so because you need to fill actually the progress report, send the progress report form for us so that we know where are you. Okay.
Doctor,
Yes.
this progress report you just mentioned, we
Mm.
are supposed for next semester,
Mm-hmm.
first semester for the project paper, that's the only thing in which you're supposed to submit next semester, right, doctor? Or is there anything else?
Next semester before January, you need to send actually nomination form. Okay, the PG K01, you need to send that nomination form. Then after 4 months, okay, so you have January, February, March, April. In the end of the April, then you need to send the progress report.
Only progress report, doctor.
Yes, then only after that you can register again back in May 2021. If you didn't send the progress report, the system will automatic, that register you also. Okay.
Okay, doctor.
Okay.
Doctor, what about
Yes.
the title of the project? Do we how to say do we need to get the approval from OUM as well?
No. You just send the forms with the titles that we have. Then I'm going to explain to you. Okay, so after this.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Doctor, I have a question. Just want to
Yes.
ask. Correct the OUM step that the master must complete within 4 years. So for your
Yes.
info, I'm enrolled the course since May 2017. So I finished my last subject this semester, December, and next year, January 2021, I start my thesis. So I only have 1 semester until May 2021 is considered 4 years. So is that okay, or any penalty or any form need to be filled in to notify OUM that I already more than 4 years to do my master?
This one you need to ask from the academic, from where? You need to ask that Encik Fauzi about this. Okay, so you left 1 semester, or from the administration unit, you need to ask them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, if you don't have any questions about the technical part, then we're going to present to you, okay, how you're going to start. Okay, so in this 1 month, because you need to get a title. Okay, so then when you fill at least the form of the nomination form, and how to get the title. So we try actually that to think a few numbers of issues. Okay, so then if you enroll at least to the master in human resource management, make sure your title relate to human resource management. If you are master of the management, make sure that your title relate to management field, because you already gone through a lot of subject in the management, so you know what is the that area in the management. So if you are a master in the business administration, so make sure that if you are majoring in marketing, so try to do at least, that your project paper in marketing. If you're majoring in finance, try to do it at least in finance field. Okay, so because that you are not allowed to do at least about education. That is not in the that Master of Human Resource Management. Okay, it's not in a Master of Management. It's not related to the MBA, because I come across that one of my student, okay, learners, they try to understand actually that why teenage want to do abortion. It's nothing related to that MHRM. It's nothing related to that master in management. is nothing related to the MBA. Okay, so make sure that if you are searching for any issue, please relate to your field of study. And try to look around of your organization, since that all of you actually they're working. Okay, so apart from looking around in your organization, because human resource management or relate in your organization in HR department. So if you're in an MBA, maybe you can looking around at least in the business field. Okay, try to observe any that problem. Okay, so that you observe by yourself, or any situation or any interested phenomenon that you try to understand. Okay, look it around. Okay, so that you're interested in. Okay, then after that, choose a certain variables, okay, reflects the problems that you have, or try to reflect the situation or phenomenon that you have, or sometimes we call it an end outcome that you're interested to do. Okay, so just like example, what is mean by variables? When you see your, that if you have a children, you're looking at your children. Okay, so that you might relate to some of the outcome. Okay, the school performance, for example, is a types of variable. Okay, so then maybe so that when you look at a certain scenario, your children is very quiet. Okay, so maybe you come up with a certain outcome. Is it is because of stress? Stress. Okay, so one of the variable. Okay, so I giving some of the example in the human resource management. Sometimes we relate to that an outcome. For example, okay, so the job performance, or maybe employee loyalty, maybe turnover. Okay, so you come up with one of the variables that you have. Okay, so after you observe a certain phenomenon inside your organization, okay, after that, how you're going to start it, try to visit the OUM digital library and go to the search, database that you have, and search for the journal articles that you have from the Emirate, from maybe that EBSCO host, maybe from the Progress that we have prepared for you. So OUM actually is having a library for you. Please use it, because I know that a lot of students didn't use that. Try to search it from the database, go to the Emirate, okay, try to check actually the journal article. So I believe that all of you already now actually that ever use at least the library. Okay, try to go to that from the EBSCO host, or maybe go for Emirate, or the webs, that the database is there. Okay, so try to click it there. Okay, so then try to get actually that the journals articles that you have relate to the variables that you're interested in. Okay, so that view numbers of variables that you have. Okay, so try to read. Okay, collect few numbers of that variable that you have. Okay, when you search it using actually the dependent variables that you're interested just now. Okay, so you're gonna type it in. Okay, search a few numbers of journal articles, then try to read it, see you understand the journal articles or not. Okay, so then if you fail to understand that journal article, maybe you can try again to get a few numbers of that certain outcome of the variables that you have. Okay, try to look at the title, okay, of the journal articles that maybe you can follow. Okay, so but you are not allowed to follow exactly the same of what the journal article is. Okay, so you allow actually try to collect the journal articles that you have. And after that, see what actually is the variable actually is discussed. So try to actually that come up with certain idea, okay, so of the that the dependent variable, or that we call them actually is the outcome, okay, so that from the list of the keywords that you have actually. So you will choose them and try also to select a few numbers of independent variable, or we call it factors that relate to the dependent variables that you have. Okay, so then at least, try to come up with a topic. Then you can fill the form of the nomination form because they have topics there that ask you to write. Okay, so then whether it's correct or not, you don't need to worry because later the supervisor going to guide you. Okay, so then make sure that the topic is manageable. Okay, so then make sure that the literature articles is available. Okay, so when you type that, you can get the literature article. Okay, so manageable means that you can complete this project paper within 2 semesters. Don't you are that because just now some students saying to us that you asked me the question saying this is a thesis. I'm going to tell you that your project paper is not a thesis, okay, just a project paper. If a thesis will spend maybe 2 years actually to do that, if you are enrolled to MSc Master in Science, okay, so in a certain field, then they might need to spend 2 years. Then we call it a thesis. Yours one is just a project paper. We won't call it a thesis because just it's a 2 semesters. So try to make at least that some topics that you can manage it in the 2 semester. Okay, so I have few numbers of students who have a big dream. We will advise you actually, but if you don't want to follow, we cannot say anything also. Just based on that you will experience the difficulty in the progress actually. But try to always in your mind that you only have a 2 semesters, so try to get the topics that having is manageable. And normally, so when we that supervise the student, we try to encourage them to have one dependent variable. Okay, don't come up with a 2, 3, 4, 5 dependent variable. Okay, so difficult. Okay, so you cannot finish it in 2 semesters. We try to help you also. You just select one dependent variable and you try to get few numbers of that independent variables that you have. Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, but don't 10. Okay, so for all of the that factors that relate to your dependent variable. And if you're interested, okay, so to do a study without independent variable, is it allowed? You allowed to do so. Okay, you just do about the that a certain variable that you're interested, and you can do some about descriptive study. Okay, descriptive study means that you want to know a certain that percentage. Okay, how frequent certain things is happen. You allowed to do so, but you must understand what is descriptive study. Okay, so then whether you want to do qualitative study or quantitative study, whether you can do some of the interview, okay, to collect data, you're allowed to do so. Okay, so then you must know actually your own strength and discuss actually with your supervisor. Okay, so which one is actually you are more comfortable with. And normally, if students try to discuss with me, I'm going to see how's the writing. Okay, so then if your English, that writing is very good, we encourage you actually go for the qualitative study. But if your writing, that is not that, convincing, then maybe we encourage you to do go for the quantitative, study. If you ask our, that suggestion, actually, that we are more believe that a quantitative study is more easy. Okay, that is more objectivity that you can actually finish it within 2 semesters. But some of the students they do actually a qualitative study is okay also. Okay, as long as your writings that is good, then you can do also that qualitative study. Okay, by interviews few numbers of people, maybe around that 5 to 10 people, and come out with certain that framework in the end. You're allowed to do so. Okay, so but make sure that your supervisor agree with what you do. Okay, so because you're doing a project paper, then so that the supervisor cannot guide you, that too much because just 2 semesters, so the process need to be fast. Okay, so be careful in choosing actually the topics that you want. Make sure it's manageable. Don't try to have have a big dream to come out actually a big thesis like that. If you're interested to having a more sophisticated research after you finish your master degree and you enroll to the PhD, okay? then you can do, you know, that good, you know, thesis, you know, dissertations that spend you 3 to 4 years actually to complete it. Then you can come up with the topics that are very interesting, then attractive, actually, you know, that it contribute actually to the knowledge. But for these, you know, projects, project masters, okay, it's okay for us to accept just one independent variable, okay, with, you know, the 3, 4, okay, independent variable, then for us it's actually acceptable, okay. Then after that, okay, try to learn what is the APA formatting style, okay, because a lot of our learner have no idea what is the APA formatting style. Okay, so they always thought that, you know, that the APA formatting style is just writing a reference behind that. It's not. Actually, this includes citation, okay, how you cited actually, you know, that resources that you have. So you need to be careful, because when you send your project paper, RPMU will ask you to do a noted in, I know that checking to see, I know that the numbers of plagiarisms that you have. So you need to be, you know, be careful. So they only allow a certain percentage of plagiarism. You can copy a certain statement, but you need to have at least a citation, and you need to restructure again the statement that you have. So learn about what is the references, okay, so using the APA format, okay, so APA format stands for American Psychology Association, okay, format. So you can actually Google up, okay, Google is a very friendly, so you can Google up, so actually, you know, that Google about, you know, that the citation of APA format. So the APA format now is version 7. Okay, so they have version 7, so you need to follow the latest, you know, formattings that you have. Or you can go to, you know, there's some of the university website that they are not teaching people actually how to see doing actually, you know, the citation. Okay, how to put a table, the table having a APA format also. Okay, how you need to, you know, come up with your table, how you need to write actually, you know, a text to explain the tables that you have, how you need to prepare actually the figures, how to putting a numbering, okay, so of in your writing. And they have a lot of, you know, informations or any of the guideline for numbers of font size, full stop that you need to use. Okay, so then the fonts, you know, that types that you use, whether you can bold it or you need to italic it or underline it or not underline it. Please understand the APA format style. They have a lot of, you know, that things that you need to follow. Okay, so in Malaysia, so most of the universities is following the APA formatting, you know, style in the way of you are writing, you know, that your project paper. Okay, so try to avoid certain error. This is a technical types of error that you need to do. Okay, so you need to learn. So, okay, 2 things you need to do, okay, before you are starting actually, you know, to write your project paper. Okay, go to the, you know, so that OUM library and search actually for the journal articles, okay, relate to the variable that you're interested in. Okay, so then come up with certain topics. Okay, so then the topics no need very long. Okay, so normally around maybe 10, you know, to 15 words that you have is enough. Okay, so maybe less than that is okay. Okay, so of your title. And make sure this relate to the field of your studies. Okay, that's important. And second thing, try to learn what is the APA formatting style. Okay, so then you need to actually, you know, follow the APA style. And after that, fill the form and send it to us, and try to have a plan, okay, to write your project paper. Okay, so then most of you, okay, already complete your research methodology subject. Okay, so then you are already starting, I believe that you understand what is chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Okay, so that is the proposal that you prepare, okay, when you are taking your research methodology class. Okay, so we need to plan it, okay, so that you need to starting to write, okay, in starting from January 2021, okay, in semester January, make sure that you can, starting to plan to write for your chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Okay, and another semester, okay, so then you need to come out with that questionnaire, or maybe data collection if you do interview. Okay, so you need to collect the data, and then after that learn data analysis. Okay, maybe using Excel, maybe using SPSS. Okay, and if you don't know how to do SPSS, you can ask actually the postgraduate that center. Okay, they have actually some of the training and some of the video relate to the data analysis part that you have, and you need to prepare also for the chapter 5. Okay, so for one semester. So make sure that you follow actually this plan. Okay, so you can complete it in the 2 semester. Okay, so we are not trying to drag you to pay more fees. So make sure that you can complete it in that in 2 semester. Try to remind you. Okay, so please ensure that so you are focused. Okay, in writing actually your project paper. Okay, for the January 2021 and after that May 2021, and I will see you during your convocation in next year. Okay, so try to plan it semester one semester to do chapter 1, 2, 3, and another semester to do data collection. Okay, to do that writing for data analysis together with your discussion and conclusion. Okay, so far you have any before we continue and discussing what you need to write in every chapter. Okay, do you have any question to ask?
Yeah, Doctor.
Yes.
I'd like to ask, if let's say we're going to do a survey, so it is considered as a quantitative, right, instead of qualitative.
A survey using a question A? Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Doctor,
Yes, Chai.
if let's say we have our topic already, we submit, then the
Mhm.
supervisor discuss it, feel that the topic is not relevant or not correct. So can we change it?
Yes, supervisors will advise you. Sometimes PD will advise you also. When if like for example, because your form normally the PD need to approve it, and normally if I read, because I'm take care of human resource management, if your topic not relate to the human resource management, I will reject it and ask you to prepare a new topic.
Okay, can. Thank you.
Any questions, Amma? Okay, so if you
Doctor, I have a
yes.
question.
Mm-hmm.
So our topic is not necessary to be the same as our research paper, right?
Research paper mean research methodology subject,
Yes.
is it?
Yes.
Yes, it can be a different.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't have any questions related to the topics, then we will go for detail in everything what you need to write for chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5. Okay, so one thing need to remind you, okay, RPMU only accept your project paper. Okay, so when you write your chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, the total pages of that without the cover and without the references, you're only starting from chapter 1, page 1 until your last page in your chapter 5. You need at least 80 pages. Okay, so need to remind you. Okay, RPMU only will accept it. You must have more 80 to 90 pages. Okay, you need to have at least that from your chapter 1 until chapter 5. If you have less than 80 pages, RPMU will reject your project paper. Okay, so then so you need to make sure you prepare your chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so prepare the report without calculating the cover page and together with the abstract and the table of contents and without calculating also the references. Okay, so you need to have actually, more than 80 pages, okay, of writing. So whether it's a double spacing or single spacing, you try to get it from the checklist. Okay, they have a checklist. Okay, that you can download from the forms there. Okay, the checklist will tell you whether you need a single spacing or double spacing, how much is the form. And please follow the APA format styling, okay, because under the formatting styling, they will tell you also knows that how you do your spacing. Okay, so then under the OUM okay, checklist, they will tell you that that how much actually that the pages size that you need to select. Okay, so you need to follow the guideline checklist there. Okay, so starting from chapter 1. Okay, so normally chapter 1 we call them actually introduction. Okay, so just like you writing your essay, you need to come out with the introduction. So what we normally write inside the introduction, we are starting with the background of study. Background study normally knows that a certain phenomenon, okay, so that we try to explain that in the real situations that you have. Okay, so the real situation that happen that you see, okay, they must lead you actually, lead to the objective of your study, okay, objective of your study, or maybe, lead you to your actually, that topics that you have. Okay, so normally we're going to having a certain story. Okay, so that a reality happens, that maybe you can get it actually, the phenomena that happen in your organization. Then if the stories happen, then you can tell it with support with some newspaper notes that citation. Okay, you maybe need to support it with some of your annual report. Okay, because some of the company, they have a certain annual report, so you can adding some information inside there. And maybe you have certain that figure, that if you're interested to study about turnover rate in your that turnover situation in your company, you might need to get some of the information to prove that problems actually happen inside your company. Okay, so situation is there. Okay, so you need to explain, okay, that lead it actually to your objective of your study. Okay, so you can get some of the information. They might need actually, that more than 3 paragraphs when you're writing actually, the background of the study. Maybe 2 pages to 3 pages of the background study. Then maybe surround that, because the student always like to ask us actually how many pages they need to write. Maybe around that actually, with the situation, so we understand what actually happened that lead you to want to do that topic. And after that, you write actually the problem statement. Under the problem statement, normally it's around 1 page, maybe not more than that, maybe 2 paragraphs. That paragraph that you have. Okay, the problem statement, okay, is to not identify actually this the gap or any what actually happened in your the situations actually you discuss actually in your background of study. Maybe that is not what you expected. Okay, so that expected actually is not happen. So that we call is actually the gap. For example, a certain company, when they give bonus actually for the employee, they expect that this employee won't resign. But when you see the phenomena, okay, a lot of actually employees is resigning. Okay, so but when you discuss actually about your research problem, then you notice that although you're giving bonus actually a lot to your employee, okay, but you notice that in the reality, okay, the that resigns turnover rate is quite high. Okay, then you can discuss this actually in the problem statement. Then what is in the reality? Okay, so that is not the same what is being actually be discussed actually in the academic field, because that in the theory we believe that actually the more money that you give it to the employees, then the employee might be actually more happy and stay in your company. So you can discuss this is a gap. what in the reality is different, so that what actually is being told, okay, or what in being a practice, then you can actually writing it up in the problem statement. Okay, don't write too much of the problem statement. Okay, so normally so that is depend, the more that you write in your problem statement, and the more questions actually you need to rise actually in your that research question, and more objective you need to solve. Okay, so but normally if you have one independent variable with 3 to 4 independent variables, so we normally have that around 2 paragraphs of the problem statement that you have. You need to discuss what actually that a gap is there, the reality, and what actually is in the academics, okay, in the paper and the books that you read, whether they have actually the gap is there. Okay, so you need to write it down actually to show that there actually is the gap. Okay, so that we call is actually that the problem statement that you try actually to understand. Okay, for example, just now I explained it. Okay, the bonus actually been given, but in the book saying that the wages or bonus, the remuneration actually can keep the the employee to stay, but it's not actually happen. So my objective for study going to be to examine, okay, the factors, okay, so and factors cause employee for that resign. I can ask one question. Okay, so don't ask too many questions. You're allowed to ask one question, 2 questions is enough, or 3 questions, depend on number of your variables that you have. Okay, then after that, when you write actually that the research question, don't write paragraph. Okay, and no paragraph is there. Okay, so you have no paragraph. You just need a statement, or maybe 2 to 3 statements that you have. Okay, so statement one objective knows that what is your research question. 1, 2, examine factors. No, 2. Your research question is what are the factors? So you ask a question, what are the factors influence turnover rate in your organization? Okay, so you name your organization, then you match it with your objective, change the question to become objective. So to examine, okay, the factors influence, the turnover rate. Okay, so that you can ask one question and one objective. You're also allowed to ask, 2 questions or 2 objectives. So make sure that it's a tally. Okay, so then you can have a 3 question or the 3 objectives, but don't too much questions that you have, because that is the more questions that you have, then the more complicated the research is going to be. Okay, so make sure that your objective, okay, match, okay, so match the research questions that you have. Then after that, you need to prepare your significance of the study. Okay, under the significance of study, normally we need to tell that, that how's your study going to be, that contribute or importance actually, that important. Most of the time, we're going to discuss actually important for the practitioner and important actually, for the academic, okay, that you have. So you can check now whether the have a 1.5.1 or maybe 1.5.2. Okay, the importance of your study, okay, for the practitioner, and how important actually that your study to the academics that we have. Okay, so then you must prove that your study is very important, so that people, in the practitioner can use your study to make a certain policy, or maybe make a certain strategy, what type of strategy that they can do, what kind of problem actually they can solve. Okay, that you need to prove that your study is important. And for academic, okay, so academic is people in doing a research like you and us actually in the universities, so we call it academic. Then how the academician actually can use your study. So you need to write actually that one paragraph for one of that actually for practitioner contribution and for the academic contribution. Then after that, you can write some of the scope of study. Okay, just tells that knows that your study will involve who in your study. okay, maybe only for this organization, or maybe involve a certain customer, or maybe involve a certain entrepreneur. Okay, so you need to have actually, you know, that a scope of study, so we understand how big is your topics going to be. Then after, you need to define your terms. Terms that we have here is the term, you know, you refer to the topics that you have. So you have a topic that you propose that, so they have a certain terms that you have. For example, turnover. What is you mean by turnover? So you come up with a one statement of the definition for that, you know, so that definition for the term. Okay, if you try to employee turnover, so I need to define what you mean by employee. Okay, so I define actually, you know, that employee. Since that my topic is the factors influence employee turnover, what is a factor? So I need to define what is a factor. Okay, so you need to search some of the terms that from your topic and try to define the terms that, you know, you use actually for your topics. Okay, that is you know, that for the chapter 1. You have any question for your chapter 1?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Howard.
For the definition of term, beside from the definition for the topic, anything that we need to define?
No, you just define the topics that you have. Because the others definition will be defined later in chapter 2. Because later when you do literature review, you're going to get more variables name, okay, so that you're going to collect only later, you're going to do it in chapter 2. But in chapter 1, because you not do much of the literature review, you do very little literature, you will only just need to define the terms, okay, that you have in your topic.
Okay, thanks. So another one is for the 1.5 significance of the study. So for this part, we also need to read for the literature review, right? Before.
No. This one is, you know, based on your research, that your topic that you have, how you can help, you know, that you can how important that topic actually to the company, how important that topic actually for the academic.
Okay. Thanks, doctor.
Okay. Any questions, Amma? Okay, if you, yes, Howard.
Yeah, doctor. Another one for the problem statement is also from the problem statement is from our reading or from what we observe in the trend from our company or those.
You need to do comparison. What in the reality, what in the literature that you have, then you would need to see whether what the literature said is the same on what actually has happened. That is we call a gap. So you might need a support from some of the literature for your research problem.
Thanks, doctor.
Okay. Any questions, Amor? Okay, if you don't have questions, then we move to next chapter. Okay, so after you prepare your chapter 1, okay, so try to get approved actually from your supervisor that you can move actually to chapter 2. Okay, if you don't have a clear chapter 1, okay, so that then you cannot do actually a good chapter 2 that you have. So make sure that after you finish, you know, that your chapter 1, and ask the supervisor, okay, am I allowed to go for a chapter 2? Okay, so one thing I need to remind you, you are not allowed to send to your supervisor lump sum of chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to your supervisor. Then just tell your supervisor, I completed. Okay, you're not allowed to do so. Okay, you must, doing research is a progress. So we will see your progress from chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5. If you okay, then we move to chapter 2 and 3. But when I'm supervise my student, if I guide many times chapter 1 is still not okay, we normally will move to chapter 2, okay? And because we cannot drag you too long, so we are moving to make sure that actually you are moving.
Okay, so later we'll come back again, maybe to your chapter 1. Okay, sometimes we are doing that. So you just discuss with your supervisor, okay, so whether you are allowed to move actually to the chapter 2 after you are done it, you know, so that enough actually for a chapter 1. As long as you know that you are very clear with the variables, dependent variables that you want to study, then only that we normally enter to the chapter, you know, the chapter 2. If you're not clear with your, you know, that dependent variables that you have, okay, normally, you know, it's very hard for you to go for the chapter 2. Then if you want to do the qualitative study, normally, you know, that we is okay, because, you know, you try to understand it more later when you are collecting your data. But you know, that try to try to get a certain, you know, that permission from your supervisor whether you can move actually so from one chapter to another chapter. Okay, please don't send chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 together. Okay, so that send it to your supervisor. We be careful, okay? Okay, so then don't try to do that. And we move to the chapter 2. Okay, so chapter 2 called literature's review. What you mean by literature? So literature normally refer to the peer review journal articles. Okay, so you try to read a very good quality of the journal articles that you can download actually from the Emirate and EBSCO and OUM library. It's a free. Okay, so you try to use it in the library. So inside the Emirate, okay, using in EBSCO actually, if you are not using it via the OUM library, they will ask you to pay. So you must go into the OUM library. Okay, so digital library, then try to get the journal articles actually from the Emerald and EBSCO. Then some of the students will ask us, can we get actually the literature from the Google? You allow, but some of the quality of journal articles is not a quality journal article, so they might guide you to the wrong direction. Okay, so you must be very careful. So since it is that maybe your first time to do project paper, so we advise you to try to get a good journal article from the Emirate, okay, and EBSCO, so you can have a very good that guide when you write your literature. Okay, so when you do a literature review, okay, you need to collect a lot of that literature relate to your dependent variables that you have. Okay, so you might need to know that review them. Okay, under the previous study, I just name it the previous study so you understand that you need to review. Okay, so I think you have a certain practice. Okay, when you do your assignment from your semester 1, 2, 3 until now. So a lot of times we're asking you to do some of literature review. So you need to understand how to review a literature. If you have no knowledge of how to review literature, you can check actually some of YouTube. You just type literature review. They have few numbers of universities professor will teach you actually a very good guideline actually that how you can collect all the information together. Okay, so because when you do literature review, it's not asking you to copy the and paste it in your own that Word document that you have. You need to write your own statement using the idea that they have in the literature. And normally, so what we do actually, we try to check the similarity, okay, what they have in the literature, and group them into a meaningful that a group. And after that, we are writing it up actually in the previous study. Okay, so we try to see that any of the independent variable factors, we call that, relate to your dependent variable. So you try to discuss it actually in your previous study. Then you discuss how they do it, under what circumstances. Sometimes they have certain method. Okay, so they, when they do this study, they might doing it at least in a certain way. Okay, then come up with a certain result. They might doing it in different industry, so you need to discuss it. Okay, some of the people that have a very good salary. Okay, so that, but maybe they come from a different industry. Okay, maybe from the education industry, maybe from the retail industry, where the finding might be different. Okay, so maybe some of the industry, okay, so the finding factors that relate to turnover will be different. Okay, so that's why you need to collect all the information from a previous study that factors influence, that your dependent variables that you have. Okay, try to come out with the, that writing it up. And for the literature review, you need to write a lot actually, because in chapter 1, you maybe write around maybe less than, 5 to 6 pages, maybe, chapter 1 already done, because the whole chapter project paper, you need to that at least 80 pages. So for the chapter 2, you need to write at least, that 30 to the 40 pages. Okay, write more. Actually, you know what? Because you have a literature. Just now, I advise you, when you're searching for a certain topic, try to search for the literature. Make sure that the literature is available. Okay, that is advice from early before you come up with a topic. So that make sure that you can write a lot and understand. Okay, the variables very clear. Okay, so that only you know which variable you're going to choose later. Okay, so before in the review or the study, because you're going to discuss a lot of variable, maybe you're going to use it, maybe you're not going to use it, but you must understand how other people is doing the research. Okay, so then after that, come out if any theory or any that a model that you want to use. Okay, then you need to that discuss a certain theory. Okay, if in the human resource management, they have a lot of theory that people use, then now, for example, because in the previous study, the factor relate to the turnover that might come from a different, that area. Then let's say that you're interested more from using a specific theory, you can discuss actually the theory. Okay, then giving actually briefing of the theory. Okay, what is the element actually you have in that theory, or any the model or framework that you're interested in. Okay, so then you write it down there. Okay, so then try to know that after that, use that theory to select some of the variables that you have from previous studies that you have discussed, because in the previous study you might collect a lot of factors that relate to your dependent variables that you have. Just now we explained to use that for your master project paper. You can select maybe 3, 4, or 5 that factors that relate to your dependent variable is okay. Okay, but selection must be based on a certain theory and certain guideline. You cannot just pick from the sky. Okay, then if you have certain knowledge on that, you can do that. Then based on that, then after that, you discuss it, the theory, then select some of the variable, then define it under the operational definition. Under this operational definition, you need to define the variable that you use. Okay, so maybe one variable you need to discuss it based on one paragraph. You see the definition, how people actually discuss it. Identify the keyword from the definitions that you have. Okay, so then after that, compare, because one variable that might be hundreds definition. Okay, so you need to collect actually, at least maybe 3 to 4 definition of one of the variables. Then actually check at least that which definition actually match your study the most. Okay, so then after that you write it down. So if you have 4 independent variable and you have 1 dependent variable, so you need to know that operationalize, define at least all of your variables that you have, include your dependent variable. Okay, so then after you define it, then you understand. Okay, when we read it, then we say, oh, what you mean by turnover. When we read your operation definition, then we understand it out. Okay, because if everybody's have, that from the literature, they have different definitions that they have. That's why you need to collect and compare what is the keywords that you have. Okay, so because it's a very important letter when you are collecting your data, whether you collect your data based on the definitions or not. Okay, so then you won't know that go very far from other side. So make sure that when you define the variable based on the past literature, please make sure that this chapter is literature review. Then most of the fact statement, they must have a citation. So make sure that you learn what is a citation. Okay, you can come up with your own statement, okay, without cited. Okay, so that is when you do some of the analysis and argument. But if you take a certain fact, a certain idea from other literature, please remember you must having cited the source where you get it. Okay, so make sure that you follow the APA format. Okay, some of the learners that might have no idea what is the APA format, learn it before you are starting to write. Then learn what is the citation. Okay, so how to come up with the citation format, which name you're supposed to put there, then what is the information you need to put there. Okay, so make sure that is there. Then after that, okay, after you have operationalized definition, then you try to hypothesis development. Okay, so if you do quantitative study, you have doing a causal study, then you might have actually, you know, that um, hypothesis development. But if you are doing qualitative study, you might don't have that hypothesis development. Okay, so then you might need to do a lot in your previous study in a theory or a model. Okay, so then after that you need to might do some of the interview and come up with the script, and after that analyze it later in your data analysis. If you do qualitative study, okay, then you might need write a lot actually is in your chapter 4. Okay, so in your data analysis that you have. Okay, so then if you do quantitative study, you might need to write a lot actually in your literature review, because you need to come up with the hypothesis. Hypothesis means assumption. Okay, so just now we have identified maybe 3 independent variable with 1 dependent variable. So maybe just now we said that a bonus, whether they are related at least to your turnover. So this relationship, we need to have a proof. Okay, so that we call assumption. Okay, in the academic research, every relationship, we must have the proof. Okay, so whether they have relationship. So where the proof come from, then you need to get it from the past literature. Okay, so the past literature, okay, so maybe showing you that they have relationship, then they maybe don't have relationship. So you need to write down these 2 arguments. Okay, they have relationship, they don't have relationship, so you need to list it out. Then when you read actually past literature, some of them they examined it, some of them they not examined it, so you need to write it down so to come up with the hypothesis. So to develop the hypothesis, assumption, we just is the assumption, certain variable having certain variables that you have. Okay, so you need actually that to have a hypothesis development. If you have 4 variable, independent variable, and 1 dependent variable, and just now in operation definition, you have 5 definition, but in hypothesis development, you're going to have 4 relationship. Okay, so you're going to come up with the 4 relationship. But just now I explained to you, if you do qualitative study, then you might don't have a hypothesis development. Okay, but you need to have actually that the framework to guide you, your proposed framework, the research framework that you have. So you need to list actually these 4 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. Actually then you explain to us that that you have actually this your proposed actually that your proposal framework which says that. Okay, and any question you want to ask about chapter 2?
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
So if I'm doing quantitative study, do I need to have a theory or model?
Yes, you have to.
Have to, huh?
Any other question?
Doctor, so I want
Yes.
to ask you for our independent variable, right? So we will determine after we do the previous studies, right?
Yes, yes.
So meaning at the previous study we can include a lot of the independent variable, then from there only we pick what is the independent variable that we
Yes, you can select your independent variable based on the theory that you use. The theory actually is a guide for you to choose your independent variable.
Thanks, doctor.
For example, if I knows that try to understand actually job performance, they have a lot of factors going to the influence the job performance. If I use motivations theory, it's turn out I will only select actually motivation factor. If I use leadership theory, I only going to choose actually the independent relate to the leadership. Understand?
So, Doctor, can you explain more about the research framework?
Research framework. Show you some of your proposed frameworks, okay? Normally it's when we be in the literature after your hypothesis development, and we're going to know that using actually that a figure actually to reflect, to show you actually the interrelationship of variables that you have. Okay, just now, okay, when we are doing, that we have dependent variables and we have independent variables. So we're going to tell people that in the figure how they are related to each other after we develop actually, the hypothesis. So we're going to show it to the people that that what we have. This one is a more complex framework, but for yours one we just need one independent variable. Just let's say that you have one of these that variables only is enough. So we have actually independent variable. What is in the framework when we draw it up, what you have actually is in the left side. Okay, so, from the right to where is it? Left to the right. Okay, let's say that this side is a left. Okay, anything that you have actually is in the left here that they have arrow that point to others variable, we call them actually the independent variable. Okay, that we call the independent variable. They are only influence other variable. We call them is an independent variable. The arrow will point to other variable. That the arrow that you have here is a very important to show that. But you see that when this variable, you will see that they have other arrow point to them, then they also have arrow pointed to other variable. We call them actually a mediator. Okay, so but for your studies, if you understand what is a mediator, you can develop actually the framework having a mediator. If you don't have, you just stop in your dependent variable is enough. Dependent variable mean they are more in your right hand side. They only been influenced. Now you see the arrow here, they only point it to them. They didn't point to others variable. We call them as independent dependent variable. Okay, so for your this is we call that a framework. Okay, but this framework a little bit not that complex actually to see that. I try to check. Okay, so they have what you have that they have error pointed to them only. They didn't point to other people. We call them actually the dependent variable. This is the output actually is the outcome of this study. In the end, they try to understand the factors influence the customer satisfaction. So your customer satisfaction going to become the dependent variable. And what is the independent variable? Independent variable is that the variable who point to other people only. This variable, they point only to other people. They point this perception of the value co-creation. We call them is an independent variable. Okay. For your project paper, okay, so we okay if you just come up with 3 to 4, 5 independent variable relate to one dependent variable is okay. It's enough. Simple, then acceptable. Okay.
The meaning we need to draw draw the arrow, all this, and then after that we need to describe as well. Is it?
You just need to explain in the simple text that what variable, independent variable that you have, what dependent variable that you have. A simple text, that one or two statement only, not a long paragraph, because you already developed then in that the hypothesis development.
Okay, thanks, Atal.
Yeah. Any question? If you don't have any question for your chapter 2, then we move it to chapter 3, okay? Chapter 3 is about methods, okay? Some of the researchers, they will use the word methodology, okay? Methods actually, or methodology is normally going to explain, okay, so then how you're going to conduct and collecting your study. That you study this subject, actually you study under your research methodology. Most of the subject inside the research methodology, you're going to learn this one. For example, okay, you need to explain to us what kind of research design actually is that you choose. Okay, if you have actually that a framework, okay, based on that framework like this. Okay, so if you have a framework like this in your chapter 2, okay, so in your chapter 2, and normally we're going to do that is types of causal study, okay, and they also have a few numbers of other types of study. For example, we have descriptive study. Normally in the journal articles, very little we can get it, but you allowed to do so, where we normally report, describe, that a certain scenario that we have. Normally we're going to report a mean, that percentage, okay, so to understand a certain situations that you have. Just like what actually, the Bank Negara always did, okay, so in every, that quarters, Bank Negara always come up with a certain report. Okay, so then they're going to tell you actually what is our GDP. Then they're going to show it actually in terms of a certain, the calculation of the numbers that they have. Okay, a certain percentage, example, knows that under the Bank, sometimes they will report unemployment rate. Okay, based on the certain research that they have. So they collect a few numbers of percentage, and to see a certain situation, whether situation actually is a good or bad situation, okay, situation that they have, they might can do a descriptive study. Okay, so then however, to come up with the descriptive study, then you might need to come up with a more variables that you need to that explore. Okay, then helping actually that the researcher understand the real situation that you have. Okay, so then if you do qualitative study, okay, you might have actually that exploratory study. Okay, so that you do a qualitative study. Then if you don't have actually that a framework like this, you don't have a hypothesis. Okay, so you only have a previous study together with a theory or model. Okay, if you do qualitative, you maybe only do 1, 2, or 3, something like this. Okay, so for your variables that you're interested to study, and certain that theory guideline, okay, a framework that guide you, then you might be doing actually that exploratory study, where you then after that you need to all depend. When you write actually that methodology, a lot of students when they write a methodology part, they like copy the whole research method book and put it into the chapter 3. It's not. Inside the methodology, they have a lot of methods, and you must select the method that match the most, that reflects your chapter 1 and chapter 2 discussion that you have, and you just discuss the method that you select. For example, if I choose actually to do actually a causal study, then I need to explain, okay, so then why I need to choose a causal study. Okay, so what is a causal study? Then I no need to explain what is exploratory study. Understand? Because I'm not going to choose that. Okay, so when you do actually research design, make sure that actually that you know which type of the method that actually that you are select. And if you actually try to do a qualitative study, and you might at least need to come up with your own framework at least in the end, a certain model at least inside your notes that analysis in the chapter 4 that you have. Okay, so you need to be very careful and understand what is notes that what is your own strength, because you need to do at least in the 2 semester. So then try to at least having at least the easiest way. Then after that, after you are selecting, always remember when you do your chapter 3, always need to explain why. Why this method been selected? Why this method been selected? Why this method been selected? And every selection on the method, then you need to come up with the citation to support it. And who some of the study also doing the same method with you, you also can write it at least under the method. Okay, so then to tell people, hey, this guy also using this method, and I'm also using this method. Why this method been selected? Then they have reason behind it, that you must understand it very clearly. Okay, so read your research methodologies book, but don't copy the whole books then putting inside here. Then after that, you need to define who's your population. Okay, so you need to define, okay, who going to answer, who are they, who going to become your population, that your that target group of your interest. Okay, so then you need to define them very clearly. Okay, so for example, if I try to understand the employee turnover from this company, then I need to define them. Who are they that I'm going to collect? Am I collect all the employee inside the that company? But normally not. We are not include our CEO inside the research. Understand or not? So you must not define that who they are. Maybe in your organization you have a certain ranking or grading. Then after that you need to define that. Okay, in this organization I'm collecting the data because the problem actually is more heavy in this group of people. Then after that you're going to define them. Okay, so then you need to justify why you select them. Okay, so need to always remember in under the methodology, every method that you select, you need to select one method, not all the method you need to select. One thing need to advise you, because you only have 2 semesters, don't do mixed both method. So a lot of students sometimes say, oh, I want to do method. One method is the same mark with the 2 method also. Okay, so you don't need to do 2 methods because you turn up to only 2 semester. Okay, so you don't have much time. If you want to do a mixed method, welcome to no PhD. Okay, so then you maybe can do that. Okay, after come up with the definition, who you're going to do that, and try actually to come up with the sampling, that method. Okay, samplings mean that you need to select a respondent that reflect the whole populations that you have. Okay, it's because you cannot select all of the people inside the population, so you need a representative of the sample. Okay, so you need to have a think of whether you use probability sampling. Okay, so you have few numbers of method, probability, or you use a non-probability. And if you choose any of the method, then you need to explain it and discuss also why a certain method actually been selected. Then after you select it based on the whether it's probability sampling method or non-probability method, and somehow what is the technique. So under the probability sampling, you have at least the simple random sampling, you have systematic random sampling. Okay, you have at least few numbers of sampling method. Then you must actually that explain what technique, and explain again why a specific technique actually has been selected. Okay, so then after that you need to discuss also the size. Okay, so how you calculate at least the size of the sample. How calculate it? They have different software that formula and certain books actually that you can refer to. If your population size is this size, then then you might come up with that how to calculate it. Okay, the size that you have. For the target group also, the size also you need to have the size. Only you can calculate actually the size of your population. Okay, whether you have the qualitative study or quantitative study, okay, you need to define actually your population, and also need to discuss actually the technique of how you're going to choose the sample size that you have. In the end, you're going to have actually the sample size that you have. Okay, then you need to see that how many that sample actually you need to collect. Okay, just based on the rule of thumb, if you do quantitative study, we normally expect it you collect at least more than 100 that the sample size. But if you do qualitative study, maybe less than 10, around 5 to 10 if you do qualitative the data collection. Okay, but if you do actually that focus group, okay, they might have 7 in one group, at least into the focus group. So you must actually that decide, then cited also the sources, that the sources that you have, when you at least reason behind it, who actually is doing that size is okay or not okay. Okay, then after that, you need to come out at least that instrument development. When you collect your data, you need an instrument. Instruments mean that some of the questions that you want to use actually to collect the data. If you have qualitative study, normally is that you need to know that what question actually you need to ask. Okay, so you need to collect actually the question from the past literature. So they have a certain question, so knows that item that we have, or sometimes in we call it item. So you need to collect it from the the literature that you have. So if you do at least qualitative study, and normally that you need to come out at least the items that you have. Okay, when you read at least literature like this, okay, sometimes they're going to put at least that the item of questions that they have, then you need to select them. I don't know whether they have a question. Let me see if they have a question. If you depend on your luck, that if they have a question, I think listed, at least that you have here. And okay, some of them they're going to tell you the way they collect. Actually, that the item from. Sometimes you read actually the text. Some of them they're going to list it. Actually, that in the like this one, they have an item. They might have an item, so you need to search it from the literature. Okay, then if you love, they will normally put it at least in under the method or an end of attachment. Sometimes they will put it here. So you need to search it more of the literature, so to guide you at least. Then whether you have qualitative study also, if qualitative study knows that the questions might be different compared to the quantitative one. Okay, so you need to select from based on the variable that you have. And if you have a quantitative, then you might need to know that discuss about that the scale that you have, what type of scale actually that you use. So we have a few numbers of type of scale. Okay, for example, this type of scale. This is a scale you need to explain. Okay, if you use actually Likert scale, okay, whether you use 5-point Likert scale or 7-point Likert scale, okay, 6-point Likert scale. Okay, so then you need to that try actually to justify it why okay a certain scale actually is being used. Okay, so you need to actually develop actually that the item from that, and after that you need to design. If you are actually that doing quantitative, okay, so then you come up with the question A, then you need to design actually the question A. Then after that you need to attach the question A, okay, at least in the end. But if you actually just prepare the report, you just need to list actually list out actually the question and item, okay, in that. Then you need to design the question A to collect question A. Then you need to attach it later when you prepare the report. Okay, after you develop the instrument, okay, so then you know what kind of questions that actually you want to ask if you are doing the qualitative study. And you also need to know that if you need to design the question A, you also collect actually the item from past literature. Then you need to prepare statistical tests. Statistical tests normally is the type of parametric test or non-parametric test that you have. Okay, so all depend on your that frameworks that we have. Okay, so normally that you need to learn about that how to use some of the SPSS. Okay, so then or maybe use that Excel. Okay, to run that maybe not to calculate at least the mean, calculate at least that the standard deviation, calculate at least that the skewness. Okay, so calculate at least that to analyze some of correlation, Pearson correlation. If you do some of relationship or maybe some of regression, okay, so then they have few numbers of statistical tests. Then you need to that explain it. Then after that, explain also why. Okay, so you need to select a certain statistical test. For what purpose? Okay, what purpose actually you do a certain test that you have. And most of the times, okay, statistical tests that we do, we try to do it to reflect who is our respondent. Okay, so also to test actually your hypothesis that you have. Okay, then if you are doing qualitative study, they also have some few numbers of that software or certain tests that helping you to analyze your script. Okay, so but one thing I need to that you also that need to explain it. If you have a certain that qualitative method of the test that you are using. Okay. So far, any question you want to ask in the chapter 3?
Doctor, I have one.
Yes.
For the statistical test, the analysis, is there any minimum or maximum number of tests acceptable for this project for us for the project paper?
No, because the test is depend on your hypothesis.
Okay, so there is no specific number of tests. I mean, number of tests, doctor.
No, no, it depends on your hypothesis and your how many hypotheses that you have. Okay, it depends on your objective of your study.
I see. Okay, noted, doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
For the research design, right? You mentioned there's a courses, study, descriptive, and exploratory. So we only choose either one, right?
Yes, correct. That choose one that match with your chapter 1 and chapter 2 that you have. You need to check your framework.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Another one for the instrument development. So let's say from the literature review, we have identified few question and from the past literature review. So do we need to, we need to attach the questionnaire to our project as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so from there we modify the question or we need to come up with a new questionnaire.
You adopt the item. You don't design your new question. Understand or not?
Oh, okay.
Let's say that if they have actually, that 5 items to measure customer satisfaction, so you need to take all that 5. Then you just modify actually that the company name or product name that they have.
We just modify the question only, right?
Yes, but you cannot modify all. You only can change the name of the company that you use. For example, they will say, I'm certified with product ABC. So you need to change actually the ABCs only.
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
Please remember, you don't design your own question, okay? Search from the literature, okay? They have a lot of, we call them instrument, okay? Or item that you can actually, that select them. I try. I think so. My one take time if I search my one. Any questions, Amal? Okay, we have 30 minutes, so I need to be fast. Okay, then after that we have after you finish at least the chapter 3. Normally you need to spend maybe 1 month to 2 months actually to collect data. Okay, if you do interview, collect the data during the time with the guideline of the questions that you will select from the past literature. always remember, don't design your own question. You are not allowed to design your own question. Okay, so you just take it from the past literature, cited it. Okay, so because you need always remember, okay, citation. Okay, you need to have a citation from an item where you get the sources from. Okay, if you have 5 variables, so they have that sometimes one variable they might have a 3 to 4 item or 3 to 4 question. Okay, to make sure you ask all the variables that you have, and you might spend 1 month to 2 months actually to collect your data. Okay, then after you collect data, then learn it knows that if you don't know how to use SPSS, try to ask from that postgraduate center. Sometimes they have a training for that. Then if not, you just go to the Google. Google will teach you. Okay, so no, Google, YouTube, they have a good that video to teach you how to not having SPSS. Okay, then if you have don't have SPSS software, you can buy it. Okay, pirated was also available. You can know that get it actually. Okay. If not, you need to come to the OUM actually, that the library and ask librarians actually to know how to know that have a software of SPSS. Okay, if not, you need to buy it actually, that from everywhere. Actually, they're available in Shopee. You can buy it in Shopee. Shopee 5 ringgit. Okay, then you just use the 5 ringgit and do data collection. Okay, and just buy the software. Okay, so, and or if you want to buy the original one, they're also available. Then you go to just type SPSS is under the IBM, so you just can buy and download actually it's online. Actually, it's the knows that that they have. But is are you concerned about the cost? Okay, so you go Shopee, you just type SPSS. They're available in the Shopee. Okay, so then after that, you need to know that after you collect the data, analyze the data, then normally we need to report respondent. Why we need to report respondent? Normally we need to see whether the data collection from where you get the data collection represent or not the population or not. Normally we're going to know that having a frequency together with percentage. Okay, so we see balance or not, bias or not, okay, of your respondents that you have. Then after that, you need to report also the descriptive statistic for your variable. Normally, we need to know all your variable. If you have 5 variables, normally we need to report for the mean, standard deviations, and we normally know that skewness. Okay, so that we always report actually that to show whether our data is actually distribute normal or not distribute normal. And if you try to know that, you can actually try to check. Okay, so our postgraduate center, they have a certain video. I come up with a few numbers of SPSS training video. You can ask postgraduate how to access actually to the video. And after that, you need to, if you run actually, this is only for the quantitative that research. Okay, if you do qualitative research don't have specific format actually for a data analysis, because it's depend on how you collect your data. Okay, so then they have a certain method on that. Okay, so if you want to know more about that the data analysis is supposed to be qualitative or supposed to be free will. It's depend on the creativity or the researcher, how they analyze actually using a certain method actually to do that you need, because qualitative they have a lot of method. Okay, so that the selection of the best method, you might need to get an expert actually to teach you. Okay, then after that, if you have a quantitative study, you need to check also the reliability. Okay, to run actually the combined alpha. Then after that, come up with the that a test. Then after that, you need to discuss. So every test that you have depend on the number of the hypotheses that you have. Okay, if you have 5 hypotheses, then you need to perform it 5 and discuss it 5. Okay, so then how to do some discussion? If you read a certain journal, journals actually is normally, that they discuss it very well. So you can see how they prepare, that the data analysis and research, whether, how you accept, your hypothesis, how they discuss it, how you prepare your table, okay, to present it. Then make sure they're using the APA format. Like this one, they're using actually is not the APA format. They have actually specific line where the table name is supposed to be. Okay, how you draw your columns that you have to make sure that you follow the format. Then you check any of the journals articles that is causal study. They normally have to tell you is that how you're going to report the result. Okay, after finish doing your that chapter 4, and after that you can continue your chapter 5. Chapter 5 is just like a discussion and conclusion, and you might need to summarize actually what you found actually in your chapter 4. Just summarize it up, and you need to do discussions means that why the result like that, okay, based on your objective number 1, okay, so then why your results like that. If significant, not significant, relationship or no relationship, then you need to discuss it. Okay, so whether the discussion that you need to maybe relate it actually to your chapter 2 again, whether your result is the same with the other researcher or the different compared to other researcher. If that's the same, then you just say that they have not in line together with the past literature. If they are not in line with the past literature, then you need to justify why they are not in line. Okay, so you need to discuss actually the result. Then after that, you need to come up with implication. Implications mean that how the others, that researcher and maybe the practitioner, how they're going to use actually that your study. So you need to give them actually that suggestion. This one is just like the suggestion. So for academic, okay, what you suggest to them, but based on what you've been discussed actually that in the 5.2. And you need to give suggestion also for the management, okay, what they can do, because in the chapter 1 you're having a research problem. Okay, so why actually that the situation actually is not a match with the academic one, so you need to give them actually that the suggestion why they are like that. Okay, what they need to do. Maybe we found that actually that bonus they're supposed to relate to the that turnover, but when you found that they are not related, then you might need to give some of the suggestion, okay, for the academic or maybe for the management, what they need to do. Then after that, you need all the research. Normally, we need to tell what is our weaknesses. Okay, so that we call as a limitation. Limitations mean that when we do a study, we have a certain limit. Okay, for example, time strain, money walls. Okay, maybe that a sample we cannot achieve. Okay, berries, the sample maybe not willing to cooperate. Okay, that is some of the limitations that you have. Then after that, you discuss what your the other researcher, later your junior, okay, when they want to do actually research, then you can give them suggestion what they can do, okay, how they can enhance actually that the research that they have. Okay, and any question that you want to ask about chapter 4 and 5? Okay, if you don't have a question, then after that we end it actually. Okay, so what you should do after you complete writing. Let's say that if you prepare already, finish chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you that make sure, okay, so your report actually at least 80 to 90 pages. Okay, this must, if you are less than 80 pages, RPMU will reject case that you have. Okay, so when you want to send actually to RPMU, so make sure you fill actually the PGR PGR03 progress report report, okay, signed by your supervisor. Okay, so make sure actually that your project paper, okay, so it's actually that 80 to 90 pages. Then after that they have a checklist form, okay, for you to tick, okay, whether you follow actually a certain rule and regulation. So after that you need to fill the form. Okay, after that undergo actually plagiarism, so not turned in software. So make sure that you are very confident only you go to this software, okay, to get the report, okay, because they're going to give you as at least when you upload it up, Okay, so then using your OUM's email, okay, so then you can ask actually the library how to do it up. Okay, make sure that you very confident, you're not doing plagiarism, copy too much, okay, so that only you are putting it there. Then they're going to give you a report, you download that report, then you need to send it. Okay, so download that report, okay, make sure don't, if your plagiarism is too high, then normally RPMU will going to reject your submission also. So make sure that you refresh all of your statement when you do your literature review. Okay, so trying this, turning in only can do once. Okay, so you must be very careful. Once actually, if you do second time, your plagiarism will 100% because they copy actually the first one, and you are not able actually not to. If you already done it actually, the first one, and you confirm it up actually, okay, so then we are very hard for us to know that to delete it up, and that's why you must be very careful. The first very careful when you are doing the turning in. So when you send, okay, so to that please at least all this you send it to your supervisor. Your supervisor will assign at least that the report together with a checklist. Then after that you send it to the RPMU. Okay, so one soft copy of your project paper. Okay, because during the time is knows that a COVID time, so you cannot send a hard copy. Okay, so if that normal, that you can allow actually freely to go out, then you might need to send one hard copy actually to our RPMU. But the current one, you need to send a soft copy and one of the form that you have, then turn in report together with checklist form. Then you need to send it up. Okay. And your project paper, we're going to do they have assessment. Okay, so who going to give a mark actually for your project paper? They have a 2%. Okay, they have a different percentage. Okay, of assessor. Okay, one for them is your supervisor. Okay, the supervisor going to giving a mark for you. The RPMU will send them a form, so you don't need to worry about where to get the form. Okay, so then the supervisor will fill the form, and another one is reviewer appointed actually by the RPMU. Okay, so they have a 2% going to have it. So make sure that your project paper, you must score A to, they have actually grading A to F, but the minimum grade you must pass is A to C. Okay, so you must make sure that you must pass at least C. Okay, so they have A, B, C, D, E, F. So make sure that the minimum marks you can get is actually, that C. If you score below C, and you need to repeat actually the project paper with another 2 semesters. And make sure also when you score C, your CGPA is above 3.00. Then if your CGPA below 3.00 and your score C for this project paper, you can maybe need to think any subject that you need to repeat it again. Okay. So if you do repeat, you're allowed to try to complete it in another 2 semesters to another for 2 years. Okay. Any question?
For the Turnitin report, Doctor, do OUM set the limit of how many percent that actually is allowed, like 10% or below?
I think it's around, if not mistake, it's 30.
30%, okay.
Do we have Viva for this one, Doctor?
No. This is project paper. I just now explained to you, you are not writing a thesis, okay?
Okay, thanks.
You have any questions, some more?
Doctor, this presentation slide OUM will send to us.
I have no idea. But I know the recorded one is available. later you can ask, Aiman is the one that sent all of you the email invitation, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can ask Aiman.
Okay, can. Thanks, doctor.
Doctor,
Yes.
yeah, just now you mentioned about the Trinity report that we need to. Do we need to log in and send our research to the particular Trinity to check our the percentage?
Yes.
Okay, so because I tried to get in, do we need to create, because this one we have to create a account on Trinity, is it?
Yes. You need to ask the library about that. Okay. You also
Okay,
can
all right.
ask RPMU how to do that.
Okay, doctor, thank you.
Okay. The turn-in report, you don't need to worry now because you have 2 semesters, so slowly, okay? Maybe when you want to send during the time, you can ask.
Doctor, I'm still a bit confused regarding the PGR01, the nomination of supervisor. The 3 to 5 pages of synopsis of research proposal, structure 1 and 2, what is it exactly about?
It's like a proposal that you learn during your research methodology class. You just write actually the topic name, okay, so then a few numbers of, that introduction is okay already.
Okay.
In our line, we also have Associate Professor Dr. Santi, the program directors, from MBA. Okay, Dr. Santi, maybe you want to say something to them?
Sure. Okay, thank you, Dr. Goy. Your presentation was wonderful, really thorough, and I'm sure all the MBA, the MHRM, and the MM students would benefit greatly, but I'm sure there are also a lot of questions that will come into their minds. Perhaps after this, they can ask maybe the individual program directors for any queries that they may have, yeah? To Dr. Goy and Dr. Norish, and also to all the other students around, if I may just take a few minutes. Dr. Goy, how many minutes do we have at the moment, yeah? Can
we
you
can have 10.
Okay, 10 minutes. I think questions from the students are very important, but maybe let me just sort of like go through in a brief what Dr. Goy has spoken about, and maybe add on just a little bit here and there. Dr. Goy, if I may, yeah? All right, now let's first start with the title. It is always an issue for postgraduate students, the title of their project paper. Title is always horror number one, okay? So how do you come up with a title? Like what Dr. Goy said just now, if you have something in your mind at this point in time, why don't you go to the OUM library and look at some of the journals available, okay? Look at some of the journals available, go for the keywords and look for what others have written on the same topic that you wish to write upon, yeah? You must understand that when you are looking at journal articles, these articles about 8 to 12 pages long, okay? Journal articles normally have 6 pages, sometimes 8 pages, sometimes 9. I think maximum I've seen is about 12 pages. Now, you must understand that when it is a journal article, the article is actually from a full-blown research project, okay? A full-blown research project that the investigator or the researcher has worked on, probably for a ministry or a university or a faculty or a company, would be of maybe 60 pages, 80 pages, maybe even 100 pages, yeah? there was once upon a time that my team, we wrote a monogram, okay? We wrote a monogram on 69 pages. But when we sent to a journal, they only allowed us 8 pages. So can you imagine 69 pages, reducing it to, 6 to 7 pages? So what you get in a journal article is a compressed article from a full-blown report. What I would suggest to the students here, if you come across articles that you think is so close to your heart, so close to the topic that you want to do, what I would suggest to you is go to the reference section of that particular article, start looking for the same, authors, and try to look for the full-blown report if you can. Usually the investigators or the researchers will jot down the full-blown report because they want you to go there later on for reference sake, okay? So that is one advice I would give you. If you want to know more about that particular article that you like so much, look at the reference section and go to the reference section to find out where the original report is placed. Yeah, okay, that's number one. Okay, number two, the APA format. Yes, the APA format is very, very, very important. Now, in most cases, I find out when my postgraduate students write their thesis or dissertation or project paper, and they submit to the supervisor for review, they do not use APA format. When we tell the student, look here, you have not used the APA format, they reply by saying, no, doctor, I'm just simply writing it now. Later, before submission, I will change it to APA format. I think that is a very bad decision. My advice to you, and this is also coming from my experience as a postgraduate student many years ago, you start using the APA format from day one. Start with APA format. Find out the margins. Find out the font. Find out how much of spacing is necessary. You start using the APA format from now, from the time the title is actually written in your project paper. What will happen is, if you wait until last minute, and people like us, when we supervise students, we actually are looking at everything, not just the content. We're looking at spacing, the formatting, and so on. It will be good if you could start the APA format from the very beginning. It is good for you, it's good for us. We can quickly tell you what's going on, what's going wrong, and what's going right. Yeah. Okay, the next would be, right, where are you good? You see, coming back to title again, title is always worry number one. Now, apart from journal articles, there are various reports out there. Okay, various reports out there. You can even get your titles from keynote addresses by some of the ministers, when they speak about certain, phenomenon that is happening in our country. They actually release keynote address. You can even get good topics or titles from these keynote addresses because these ministers or these top guns, they are addressing issues in the country. All right. A lot of us, we think about issues. We think the issue is real or is in reality. Probably it is not. Yeah. I give you an example, a very simple example, nothing to do with MBA, MM, or MHRM. I'm just giving you an example of what, when I was invited to be an examiner for another faculty. Yeah? Now, this particular student wrote about principalship in his school. Okay, the topic was on leadership of a principal in schools in a particular state. Yeah, he wrote as though that particular scenario was happening in his state. He thought it was happening. In his mind, it is happening. He thought that the principals in that particular state were not playing their roles well. They were not playing their roles efficiently. This was in his mind. And he wrote the whole project paper based on this particular notion. All right. My advice to you, my advice or my question to you, how sure are you that the principals in this particular state are not performing? How sure are you? If you ask another teacher in the same school as this particular teacher is from, this particular student is from, he might have a different opinion, and he may have differing what do you call numbers or evidences to support his thought. So don't always think that what you know is right. Find out the reality. You may have it at the back of your mind, but please, please, please go and find out before you start writing whether that issue or that matter is real or not. Maybe it is only in your mind. Everyone else is thinking differently about the particular issue. Okay, this is my advice to you. Because my question, if I'm an examiner, I'll say that, how you know? How you know this is happening? You must provide evidences, proof to say that that particular thing is there. We don't want to hear students saying, oh, I know, doctor, because I see it every day. Yeah, you see it, but you see it differently. Others may see it indifferently. All right. So that's a word of caution to you. Yeah. When we ask you for evidences, please don't say you observe it or you see it. You must have evidences to back it up. All right. The next would be, okay, a lot of students here, they start writing their project paper last minute. Always last minute. I'm sure, you know, you have a lot of things to do at home, at work, and so on, but never leave your project paper for last minute. What I did as a postgraduate student was, I spent 2 hours minimum on my write-up. Every day, I spend minimum 2 hours on my write-up. The minute that I have to attend something and I'm not able to put in the 2 hours today, let's say I have to attend an event and I know that I will not be able to spend 2 hours because I'm coming back late and I need to sleep and so on, I will take the 2 hours that I missed today and I'll add on tomorrow. So tomorrow, instead of 2 hours, I spend 4 hours on my paper, all right, on my project paper or my thesis or my dissertation. This is what I did, and I graduated on time, all right. If you stall your work by saying, no, let me keep everything for the weekend, I'm telling you, you will not have enough time to complete your project paper in 2 semesters. Okay, so my word of caution is, every day try to spend at least 2 hours on your write-up. Even if you don't write, maybe you want to read, maybe you want to collect, maybe you want to collate, maybe you want to check and see, maybe you want to speak to your classmates about it. Take these 2 hours every day to work on your write-up, all right? Time management, yeah. A lot of postgraduate students, they are not effectively managing their time. This is my experience when I was managing students, yeah, OUM students. Time management was problem number 1. Now, my advice to you again, you don't have to attend parties. You don't have to attend wedding events. You don't have to attend, you know, a lot of social functions. Even if you don't attend these functions, the functions will still go on, all right? I would really ask you to pay more attention to your project paper, complete it, and then you can party away, all right? I see a lot of my students, my postgraduate students telling me, doktor, alasan saya doktor, saya kena pergi kenduri kahwin. Sorry doktor, saya ada birthday party, saya ada ni, saya ada tu. And I always tell myself, you don't attend, they're still going to celebrate the party. You don't attend, the couples are still going to get married. So, please concentrate on your work itself, yeah? Okay. I don't think I have much time. Let me go on. This is very important, yeah? A lot of students start writing their project paper without a sample in their hand. Now, when I mean the hand, I don't mean a physical project paper, yeah? Try to look for sample project papers in OUM Digital Library. Try to see how these persons have done their project papers and use this as your base, your sample. Have a sample in your hand, hopefully in the same topic that you are planning to do, all right? I tell you what, some people come and ask me, doctor, please give me a good sample. There is no good sample, there is no bad sample. Everything is just a sample. Because end of the day is your project paper, how you create your project paper. But what you must have in the hand is a sample. It could be a good sample, it could be a bad sample, it doesn't matter. But a sample in hand is better than none at all. All right? Do try to find out a sample, a project paper sample in MBA or MHRM or MM or just about any master's project paper. Try to see how these particular people, this particular student address all the chapters in their project paper. All right? Now, lastly, Dr. Goy said something very important about questionnaire. Now, never, never, never develop your own questionnaires. You are not in the position to develop your own questionnaires. Please use questionnaires that have been developed by other researchers. There are so many out there, all right? So many questionnaires out there. You may not find one questionnaire that is 100% suitable for your project paper. That is why Dr. Goy said just now, if you have a questionnaire, okay, if you are developing a questionnaire now, there will be part A biodata, part B on one particular, IV, or there might be part C on a DV and so on. There will be many, many parts. You can take part B from one questionnaire. You can take part C from another questionnaire. You can take part D from a totally different questionnaire. Not necessary the whole lump of your questionnaire must come from only one researcher. No such thing. You can actually bring in parts from other questionnaires into your questionnaire. But you are given the privilege to do adaptation. But for every adaptation that you do, you must explain why you adapt. Okay, this is necessary because when we see a questionnaire, we want to know what are the sorts of adaptations that you have done. Because you must understand, when you do a project paper, data that you collect, data that you collect comes from the questionnaire that you have prepared. Meaning, the questionnaire is the base of your data. If your questionnaire is wrong, then your data is wrong. If your data is wrong, then whatever you analyze is wrong. And whatever you conclude in chapter 5 is misleading. All right, so everything boils down to questionnaire. Make sure your questionnaire is correct, correct, correct. You can adopt questionnaires, you can adapt questionnaires. Decide which you have to do. If you adopt, well and fine. Please name the person, the owner of the questionnaire. If you are adapting, mention what are the parts that you are adapting and why this adaptation was necessary. I think I will stop here because we do not have much time, but we do invite, students to ask the program directors for any queries that they may have later on. I would be doing a workshop later on, not now, this is a bit too early. I will be doing a workshop later on questionnaires, okay? How to develop questionnaires and how to administer questionnaires. I will probably do it, I don't know, maybe I will check with Dr. Goy and Dr. Nosia to find out when would be the best date, and we will invite all of you again into the workshop to go through what we did today. All right, today is the initial one that Dr. Goy has started. Let me, somewhere in the middle of the semester, have another workshop with all of you on questionnaires, how to develop questionnaires and how to administer questionnaires. Okay, thank you, Dr. Goy, for the time, and thank you for all of you, to have paid attention to what I have mentioned today. These are somewhat the essentials that you must know. All right, thank you and all the best Good luck to all of you. Right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Nosia, you around, Nana?
Thank you, Dr. Sandy.
Dr. Nosia is actually in a hospital. I don't know whether she is available or not. Thank you for your time. So, okay, hoping that you can register for